Welcome back once again, of course, to the Paladins video. Cut out the intro, did it a little bit different. Today we're going to be playing some Willo, Standard, and Seedling. Not going to be going into the Nightshade, Dead Zone side of things, just because out of the three here, it's definitely the worst. I've been playing it quite a bit recently though, and the other two are really good, because you have so much damage on the queue for the objective. If you want that, this is the setup I run. It's been the same for a little while though, and then the Standard setup for just really good damage output in general with your left click, and this one is just kind of paling in comparison. 2 out of 3 definitely isn't bad though with how strong those two are, but I feel like if you play without the right setup, a sort of a limited selection of cards here, to be honest, you're going to have a slightly difficult time, and I feel like her win rate compared to how goddamn strong she is a little bit mismatched, and her play rate as well is also under where I think it should be. Although she does get countered pretty hard by people like Octavia or Victor. If you're up against a good one of those sort of characters, you might struggle a bit, but overall you don't have to put that much effort in to do quite well with her. In my opinion, yeah, more people should be playing Willo, because she's also really annoying to go against. We've got Caspian, Evie, Grover, Azan. We're up against Grok, Nyx, Furia, Amani, and Damba. Definitely been way too long since the last Willo video, which I think was last year in like January. It's probably been over like 400 days. I think I did check before this, and I think that was the last time I properly covered her, but she's been the same for a long time, and most of what I said in those videos is pretty much the same now. Rampant Blooming, Wormhole, Persistence, Measured Cadence, Abyssal, Splitting Ice, Exterminate, Maelstrom, and Wakono, so quite a bit of CC, but if anything, I'm surprised she hasn't been nerfed considering, again, how strong she is. I'd say she's in a pretty healthy spot. There's some big damage on the Nyx, but if anything, she might be a little bit better now after the new characters and all the changes and stuff. She's getting her ultimate fixed a little bit, but that's pretty minor. I don't know what just happened in my queue. Did that go out? Yeah, she's still also buggy. Don't know if they really fixed any of the problems she's had for like the longest time with like the queue not loading properly. You get kind of cheesy kills every now and again with it because it just doesn't work. We got a free one there on the Nyx, but she definitely isn't any weaker just because of everything else moving around her and her being mostly the same, and her power level has been pretty high for a long time. So again, if you haven't played Willo, definitely give her a shot. The Dead Zone strength plus the Q burst honestly is kind of crazy on her. If you're just playing even semi-decently, you're going to end up with a pretty good stat. I get kind of chased here though. My Q is just so absolutely bugged. It's not working right whatsoever. We'll grab more Chronos. A little bit of a lower energy video today as well, so I'm going to be as, I guess, talkative as normal. I don't know, I'm going to focus on the gameplay a bit for once. Pop the ult glide around the right side a bit. They did also buff her, I think, a bit since that video because they made her glide much smoother, although that might have been the actual last video I made is when they buffed that, because getting into your ultimate now actually feels pretty good, whereas before it would quite easily feel jank. I don't know where I'm going, to be honest. My placement today is all over the place. More shots here on the Nyx. She is out. Nyx counters you, I guess, a bit with her F, but it's not that crazy because you can just output so much consistently heavy damage. Like you're just bursty, you also have just like damage otherwise, and anti-heal. Really does actually surprise me that we don't see more Willo, because I can kind of get it with Talus because he does feel like a really niche character. Willo feels like a character that would do really well in most scenarios, and yet I don't see her that much. You guys did tell me though in that Talus video in the comments, because I did go through them. I imagine most people's opinions are going to be sort of the same on Willo, but you guys told me that you see a lot more Talus if you're on console compared to PC, which makes sense because of the type of character that he is. I feel like most of you guys that played on PC had the same sort of experience where you didn't see him that often, but the difference from console Talus to PC Talus was much larger than I thought it was going to be, which is why I didn't even mention it in the original video, is because I didn't think people played him on console, and I now kind of understand why those nerfs happened, to sort of balance him out a little bit, because maybe he was overperforming a bit there. But obviously because I only play on PC, I can only really give that experience, but I like to at least point out the differences and talk about console, even if it isn't necessarily from my perspective, you know, how I'd sort of assume things are, perceive different things, because most of it, from playing even a little bit, because I have played on console before, you can kind of get the differences. I feel like I've output a ton in this one, to be honest. There goes the Fury. I haven't really been able to survive as much as I would like. I've been getting cleared quite a bit. To be honest, Grok's damage here is kind of annoying, but yeah, I feel like Willo on console is probably about the same, is my point of relating, you know, what I was saying about Talus, is that Willo, I don't think it would really be that much different, and honestly, I like her a lot, even if her Dead Zone is insanely annoying and possibly too strong. I find most of her kit to make a lot of sense and be relatively fair. The Q burst can feel kind of cheesy, but considering here we're going for like the sort of seedling setup, it being strong here makes sense because we're dedicating our whole kit to it, but normally Willow's Q doesn't feel too bad if she's not going for like the seedling with the reset thing, because it's not going out that often, the damage isn't that crazy. But yeah, going for the talent does turn it into like a whole different thing. Get kind of blasted here, to be honest. They're actually outputting quite a lot. Am I dead to this Amani? I don't know why I peeked there. I should have just hidden. That's a root. I didn't get the F off, so we're fine. We'll throw the Q and go back to spawn. We'll play a game here with the normal one as well, but I like the Q setup a little bit more just because it's a little bit more unique to Willo, that sort of Q massive burst damage. I've been playing this game so long that I remember sort of first covering the Q setup with Willo when no one was really playing it. Everyone was just playing a sort of the standard way, whatever the hell that was at the time, and making that video on Willow's seedling sort of thing, and it doing really well and people being surprised at how goddamn broken it wasn't. I think they nerfed it, but might be misremembering that. I just remember the first videos when I covered her and how sort of she's remained mostly the same, or at least the playstyle for her feels sort of similar. The right-click setup was removed for a bit and then they sort of added it back, but now it's been neutered pretty hard and isn't that strong, which is why we're not going to be covering it today. I might do it in a separate video though, but the Q and the sort of standard one for her has felt sort of similar for a long time. What the hell is going on, by the way? Trying to make commentary today with playing Willo like this is just not working. Shots here on the Furious. She is out. Furious playing very ballsy, by the way. I feel like she's died a lot for no reason. We'll push in on the Amani. You can play her very aggressively. I see people play Willo sort of like a Dredge or like, you know, a character like that sat farther back, not really doing much. Dead here to the down, but I think, never mind Grover with the save. But personally, I like to play Willo super aggressive and push in with the every now and again, which is why we have the ammo gen on it. She does play pretty similar. It's just depending on if you want the power on the Q or sort of the left click and more consistency, which is why in Tryhard Siege I wouldn't recommend the Q one. I'd also recommend, you know, the freaking Sound Blast Fire setup, and the right click one does kind of work. It's just not as strong as the other two. Does make me kind of nostalgic though for when that was the main way people were playing Willo and when it was way too good. It took them quite a while to nerf it if I remember correctly as well, but the standard left click right click burst used to be way stronger than this, and it used to be the main thing people were playing. Let's push in here on the Dambo. We are ignoring his stun, but I think I might be dead here anyway. I don't know what the hell I'm doing flying around in a tiny indoor area like that. I think that Grok's gonna have like 100k because that man has been shredding, but so have we. I don't think we're gonna have 100k. We're probably gonna have like 75 or something. It's an Amani Dragon. Can we just finish the game here? There we go. There's the victory. Messy game, but a really, really good showcase for Willo, I feel like. Took me a little minute to get properly into it, but there we go. There are the stats for the first one. Really happy with that. 18,389k. We shredded there. We were beaten out by the Grok, who had 103k. Pretty much bang on what I guessed. He was doing work there for sure. Really good game. Not much I can say about the stats. Hazan's damage there is quite high though, and our flanks not so much. We'll jump into game 2 here in a minute. I just wanted to point out real quick that despite me categorizing Willo as like a blaster character and other people I think also doing the same thing, she plays so differently than the rest of the damage roster here. You know, Betty, BK, Dredge, Drogos, they don't really play like Willo. Willow's kind of her own thing. She feels very special and no other character really properly matches that, and I've never really been able to explain why. I've tried, I think, a ton of videos, I just never properly get it out into words. But anyway, we got Raw Subject, Relentless, Battering Ram Extension, Frosty, Unyielding Half Shell Scuttle. We'll go for the Blast Fire setup here, the standard sort of tanky one, I guess. Sort of trying to show the more try-hard setup for, I suppose. I was expecting the Mako to maybe run in there. Don't want to get hooked and just insta-die. We'll do the sort of left-click combos. You get so much more damage, I think, with the Blast Fire than the Q setup, but you'll probably end up with less kills because you're not getting as consistent, like, shreds on people. Also saw a comment the other day when I was playing on this same map that I use the elevators a lot. I didn't really realize until I watched that video back, but I also noticed the same thing. I don't know why I stick to these and I use these a lot. I feel like they're just good cover and kind of a good position to be up here with most characters. Ends up being better than just trying to play the left side, which I just avoid for whatever reason. Even though with Willo here, for example, it makes more sense for me to be on the left because I can use my F a bit better. I've got a little bit more of an easy shot upwards or even downwards and up there trying to hit people, you know, from other angles. This is just a little bit safer for me. Let's consciously try it, I guess, and I'll try and stick to the left side. We'll push in here on the Drogos, left click, right click, just shred him. Don't know if I said it already, but I like this skin combo a lot. Sort of the recolored one. One of my favorite recolors of all time, for sure. I've definitely said that in a video. And then this sort of weapon really combos. We'll go for the ult though and just shred through the Vora. For some reason, the team is just ignoring her here. She's out. We'll throw the Q, get rid of the Dredge. I don't think you can get away here, even with the F. We just have so much damage on that left click with the infinite ammo. It makes it a lot stronger going for this over the seed setup as well, which is something to mention for sure because of that blast fire. It also makes a massive difference against tanks. You just end up with so much more damage than going for the other setup. There is a triple. She also snowballs really quite hard compared to most characters. Dead to the Dredge. Ash with the ult. She landed on top. Okay, shots on the Makoa. He's kind of the character I should be focusing here. I don't know what I'm doing positioning wise, to be honest. I don't know if I should even bother hitting into his ult because no one else is doing it. Guess we can try. I'm dead to the Vora, who was also just blasting me. We have a Vora too, right? Which is why I'm confused. I think they've both got the same skin. Hello, Dredge. We'll get some shots on you. We have your little teleporter here. We'll F out of that. I did actually just get out of the way just like a second before that went off. We'll get rid of the Betty here. Not a Betty. That's a Vora. We'll F, Q. I thought that was someone. Never mind. There goes Drogos 2. Another free triple for like no effort. Going back to what I said earlier in this video where it's really easy to do well with Willo. At least for me, it's a very sort of default character where I can pick Willo and know I'll at least do fine if I'm not up against like a Victor or an Octavia or someone who can really shred me. Like a Leanne as well is also really, really annoying. Hello, Dredge. We're just going to blast him again. I feel like you can also play more aggressively with the setup, even compared to the Q1 because of that extra damage. It gives you sort of an extra out compared to just getting the combo. I think that goes against what I said earlier, but whatever. Shots here on the Dredge. We'll left click, right click. We'll F over this little bit. Surprise him because he thought I dropped it down. That's just disgusting on this map. Jump on the top. I don't think Drogos is a bot. I think he's a person. I think he's just kind of new. He looks like he's playing with a controller and kind of doesn't know the map. I don't know. Shots here on the Dredge. Dead again. I'm just dead to his spam. I'm not even like trying to fight him that much at the time. I'm just dying because I'm getting hit by stuff he's aiming at other people. For some reason I always think you take self-damage from the Q. That should be something they add on to the talent, is like removing self-damage from it, because I think it's a little bit too cheesy that you can actually just stand in your own seedling. It does make sense, but feel like it goes against a lot of the logic in Paladins. They should make it part of the talent, and then that will make it, you know, you're more a reason to grab the Seething setup over just the standard one where Blast Flower is definitely the default. Even if it's not for me, there goes the freaking Drogos. We're just shredding here. So much damage. You just look back there and you see how much we just burst for like so little effort. There we go though. There is the victory. A bit of a shorter video, I'd imagine, but I think we did quite well with Willo today. 75k flat. Yeah, happy with that. 21 and 5 again. Just kind of shredding. We actually did worse, I think, there than I did with the Q setup because I was playing a little bit slower, but overall, another good game for her. Not much I can add though. Can't remember where I put her on a tier list when I made those videos, but I'd probably put her around an A today. She's definitely in like my top 8. Top 8 or 10. It's all over the place these days, but I like Willo a lot. Kind of a shame I don't see more of her, but then again, going against her is really annoying, and I know every single time I have a Willo on the enemy team, because that dead zone will screw you at least once in a match, I feel like. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you want to see me do next, and as always, stay frosty. I might not always do the intro, but I think I'm always going to do the outro. For some reason, I don't think I can leave that behind. The stay frosty, it's got to stay.